Hello, my name is Ms. Ewan, and I am going to help you out with preparing for the Ontario Secondary School Literacy Test. So the first module that we're going to be doing here is about the information paragraph. In this module, we're going to talk about reading, multiple choice, and the paragraph response. So what do you need to know? The first thing is that it's usually 15 to 20 lines, about one paragraph, and it is nonfiction. So it is a real life piece of information, and it usually looks about something like this, okay? So you'll notice here that it's about 20 lines, so it's quite a large paragraph. When you begin the information paragraph, it's really important that you read it carefully. Keep these 4 points in mind. I want you to pay attention to the topic sentence, recognize transitions, expect numbers, and watch for contrasts. Another tip is, during the OSSLT, you're allowed to bring in highlighters, and that can be really, really effective when it comes to reading text because it allows you to separate out the different types of information that you'll see. This selection, it says, ice sculpting has been called a SPART, part sport, part art. This is the topic sentence. It tells us we are talking about ice sculpting, and that it is part sport, part art. The rest of this paragraph is going to tell me why this is so. In the selection, it continues. It says, like athletes, ice sculptors vie for medals at international competitions. So it's telling me how athletes and sculptors are alike. The next sentence is, ice carving has been a cultural Olympiad event at the Olympic and Paralympic Arts Festival since the 1998 Calgary Winter Games. The tools and ice are heavy, so sculptors need endurance and strength. So it's telling me all of the reasons why sculpting is like an athletic event or athletic sport. It's physically demanding, working non-stop under a time constraint, says Dan Rebholz, who has been carving for 22 years. So see this right here, 1998, 22 years. He's a veteran of 100 competitions. Notice that there's lots of numbers. So this activity, the information paragraph, often will include numbers, statistics, and that sort of information to help illustrate its point. So I want you to keep that in mind when it comes time to writing your paragraph, but also answering the questions about this one. You want to look at whenever there is a quote, that's often either in an information paragraph, it's often by somebody who is an authority, meaning somebody who has some kind of expertise about the topic. So right now it's telling me all of these things, why ice carving is like a sport. Most North American ice carvers have art training. Whoa. Hold the phone. I think this is one of those transitions. So they're starting to bring in more information. Their tools include chainsaws, carving chisels, electrical sanders, and torches, but most important, an imagination. What? So this is where they're starting to create the contrast, okay? So often in these types of information paragraphs, it's going to give you some kind of information to compare, okay? Our favorite word is wow, says Rebholz. It's the word most people say when they see sculptures such as Surfacing Kingfisher by the team of Junichi Nakamura, Japan, and Suguru Kanbayashi, Canada. So what is that? That's an example that has been provided by the author of this selection. Although ice sculptures are beautiful and their creation time-consuming, carvers must accept the potential for tragedy and the certainty of impermanence for their masterpieces. Melting can be a threat, but so too is crashing. Nakamura's team, which included Rebholz, worked almost 20 hours a day for 6 days. So look, more numbers. On the Birth of the Bluebird, a gigantic sculpture of a reclining woman, her arm reaching up to a bird. Just before the judging, it toppled. When its last supporting pillar was cut, a spectacle viewed over 10,000 times on YouTube. Sport, art, with its challenge, skill, beauty, and risk, ice carving is both. I'm going to highlight this because I want you to see how this last sentence basically restates the topic sentence. It is telling me that the point of this entire paragraph is comparing ice sculpting to sports and arts. After you read the selection, you're going to be asked to answer a number of questions. They are going to be multiple choice questions and a one paragraph response. What they want you to demonstrate that you understand is vocabulary and context. So they want to see that you understand what certain words mean. Specific details. So remember when I was highlighting all of those numbers? They are providing specific details that they want you to both understand and reference later. The author intent. They're looking to see that you understand what the author is trying to tell you in the paragraph. And in this case, it's basically highlighting how similar or all the things that ice sculpting has in common with both sports and art. Inferences. Inferences are the hardest part. This is basically reading between the lines, trying to understand sort of the unspoken message of the entire piece. Organization. They want to see that you are able to organize an answer in a very conventional way. And they want to see that you understand writing functions like grammar and how to construct a sentence, etc., etc. So first, we're going to talk about how to answer multiple choice questions. When you're confronted with multiple choice questions, they're going to look like this on your test. Okay? You will have to answer them using a bubble sheet. And it's very important that you answer your multiple choice questions properly on the bubble sheet. In order to do that, I want you to think about when you are reading your questions, I want you to try and answer the question in your head before you read the answers. So, when I read number 1, in what way is competitive ice sculpting different from an Olympic sporting event? I can think of some of the examples from the text. It requires imagination. You need a number of different tools like a chainsaw, and you're judged both on your artistic and physical ability. All right, now that I've sort of thought about the question, I'm going to read all of the options. The winners receive medals. Okay. B, the judges rate a created object. C, the competition requires strength. And D, each team includes representatives of only one country. So, I am looking for ways that competitive ice sculpting is different from an Olympic sporting event. So I should eliminate all the ones that are the same. Because what you're going to do is you're going to put a check mark beside the ones you think are correct. And if it's easier, you can draw a line through the ones that you know are wrong. So if you're not sure, make sure you eliminate the ones that you know are wrong, okay? If you end up with 2 check marks, you're going to read the answers again and try to decide which one is most correct. Trust your instincts and choose the most correct answer. People second guess themselves and make the wrong decision. So if your gut is telling you something, go with your gut. And make sure that you answer before you move on to the next question so that it doesn't stay blank, okay? If you have time, you can always go back and correct it. Remember, on the OSSLT, you need to answer every question. So I'm going to pause, and I would like your teacher to pause this video right now. And in the workbooks that you have received, I'd like you to read the paragraph selection and try to answer the multiple choice questions. You're going to do that on your own. And then once you've finished your multiple choice questions, you're going to take them up using the rubric in your package with the person sitting next to you. And I'll be back to talk about the paragraph answer.